much for joining me. Today I will be sharing with you how I made this cute vintage Valentine's Day card. I hope you get inspired. Here we go. Okay, so first what I did was go on Etsy and search for vintage Valentine Day images. And I found these, which I thought were super cute. And all I did was just print them and then cut them out. And it was a total of 9 images. And yeah, and these are the ones that I decided to go with. So in this card, I will be showing you this gentleman with balloons. So I have my card base, and as always, my card base is 6.5 by 5 inches. And I just go ahead and I pick the red that's going to be my bottom layer, and I go around it with my X-Acto knife or crafter's knife, so I can have a perfectly cut first layer for this card. Once I have this piece cut out, I go ahead and I cut the inside of it because I will be using it later to do some die cutting. I go ahead and I add some glue to the card base and I glue this layer on. Next, I'm going to be working on my boy. So I just go ahead and I distress the edges of this image, and here I'm using a crafter's knife or X-Acto knife. But you could use a distresser if you have one. Later on I will be showing you what the distresser does and what it is. I recommend putting a piece of paper under it because it does get a little messy. Next I go to my stash of trims and I pick 2, and I want to bring out that teal color that balloon has. I really like teal. I like that color, minty teal like. So I go ahead and I pick 2 trims and I just cut them to the size of the bottom width of the image, and I go ahead and I pick 2, and I like these little pom-poms. They're so cute and they're the perfect color. And just by using some liquid glue, I flip the image around, and through the back side I go ahead and I glue these 2 trims on. Now these trims I found at in the clearance aisle at Joann's and at Michael's. I like to have these on hand just in case I need them. I know that a lot of us are like that, but I don't like paying for full price. So yeah, I just wait for them to go on clearance. And if I don't get what I want, it means that we were never meant to be together. So next I go ahead and I pick some paper that has color to it. I wanted to add some color to this card. And I found this, this pattern paper, which I thought was perfect. So I just do these little tick marks where I want my layer size to be. And I go in with my trimmer and I cut away. I decided to use the inside piece that I cut out of the first layer. I decided to add that to the back of the image so that the image wouldn't be floating, so it could be grounded and it could have some of that red, and it could have a separation from that colorful background paper. And I go ahead and I distress the edges of this red cardstock. Now the good thing of this cardstock is that it has a white core. The inside is white. So when I decide to cut it with my fingers, that white stands out, and the other edges are also distressed. And here's the distress tool. This is by Tim Holtz, and it has a bunch of little like blades that helps you distress the edges. But you don't need this tool because I have found that the crafter's knife does a beautiful job in distressing paper. Here you could see that there is not much difference from what I distressed with the distressing tool and what I distressed using the crafter's knife. So I decide to do some die cutting on that piece of paper, and I'm going to need some hearts and my sentiment, my love. Next I decided to add some teal colored cardstock under the pattern paper just to bring more of that teal color to the card. And again, by making little tick marks, I go ahead and I measure and I cut this layer.
And as I always do, I cut the inside of this layer as well. My old lady voice
came out on that one. Okay, so I decided to use my corner chomper to give the corners a little bit, make them a little different. And corner chomper has different styles you can choose from, and I thought this one was good. It was gonna work for this vintagey look that I was going for, and I just go ahead and I corner chomp away all of my layers. And that is an absolute beauty of the corner chomper, that you can cut multiple layers at once, and cardstock. So next I decide to grab my Tim Holtz Distress ink, and this is Vintage Photo, and I just go around the edges just to distress them, add some more of that old kind of feel to the card, since I'm going for that vintagey shabby chic look. Okay, the time has come to put all these layers on my card base. Yay! So just go ahead and I first place my teal color, and then I go ahead and I place the pattern paper. And for the teal color cardstock, that's a little thicker. I could go ahead and I use my regular glue bottle, but for this top layer that is a little thin, it's thinner, it's more like papery kind of cardstock, I go ahead and I use the thin point of the glue bottle, so that I don't get you know, those blobs that we don't like seeing on cards, on paper actually. Alrighty, now we are ready for the main image, and here he is, and I just go ahead and I add some glue to the back and I place it onto that red piece of distressed paper. And I decide to add some kind of decoration in back of it. I decide to first glue the image on the cardstock and then stick this little ribbon behind it. The ribbon is a little thick, so I didn't want to add that all the way across the image. So I just cut two little pieces and I just
Sneak it right under there. With the help of the crafter's knife, of course.
And then I just trim away, trim away, trim away all the excess, anything that I have poking out. So next I wanted to add a little banner. I mean, it's so indicative of vintage shabby chic to have one of those banners on one of the corners, and I thought it would be perfect to add. So I just go ahead and I glue a little string onto this corner here, and I proceed to burn the edges just to avoid any fraying. Then I proceed to assembling my little banner. These were all cut out using the inside pieces of the cardstock that we already glued onto the card. The pieces that we cut out that weren't going to be seen. So I just go ahead and I add some glue to each of the pieces and I add them onto my card along the string. I really like adding banners to cards. It just gives them a different feel. It makes them look so fun. Another piece that I cut out using my die cutting machine are these hearts, and I think that they would look perfect, you know, just adorning that opposite bottom corner of the card. And I just go ahead and with some liquid glue, I go ahead and I add these two pieces, a teal solid heart and one that is a little more lacy looking. And of course, I'm never happy until I add some sparkle and shine. So I went ahead and I used some Week of Stella just to add a little bit of shimmer to these hearts. And that completes our card. I invite you to please subscribe if you haven't already done so, and hit the notification bell to be notified every time I post a new video, and comment and like. Thank you so much for your support. I hope you get inspired. I hope you create, and most importantly, I hope you are happy. See you next time. Already put the glue on. I was going to distress the edges. Ugh, what a mess, what a mess, what a mess.